Okay, so what's the ADL's criticism? Don't say Hess to Nazi accusations. Some people will Goebbels anything down. Stop goring your enemies. His pronouns would have been he, Himmler. Bet you did not see that coming. Let that sink in. It's like a cringe it's like making your asshole pucker as a zip bomb, you know? Like it's an overwhelming. They're calling him the world's most soy human. He's very talented at that, if nothing else. What is he, 12? I'm really sorry, but I take issue with this comparison. I genuinely was not that cringe at 12. Like, that's not... And I think you weren't either. I genuinely think the average 12-year-old would be like, this is a bit much. Like, maybe one of these, but all of them in quick succession like that? That's not... I don't think there's any point in time during which this is like a sustainable... I'm the CEO of ADL. We've said it hundreds of times before. We'll say it again. The Holocaust was a singularly evil event. It is inappropriate and offensive to make light of it. Elon Musk, the Holocaust is not a joke. Pretty light criticism, but it's still pretty funny. Considering the fact that the people that Jonathan Greenblatt answers to are the same people that cavort directly with Elon Musk, you know? I have said this before, and I'll say it again, man. Elon is so personally detestable and odious and unfunny and cringe that he will be like an erosive force to all the people around him. From what I understand, the point is to use humor to normalize the behavior. Yeah, it's every internet neo-Nazi does that, and Elon is a Nazi. He literally like he's every single day for years, he has been agreeing with Nazis on Twitter. There are plenty of non-Nazi Twitter accounts. I know it may not seem this way, but they are the majority. He's going out of his way to find the Nazis. And Elon is particularly unfunny even for a Nazi. It's a distinct honor. It is. Somebody said the ADL account on Twitter also criticized him, not just the CEO. So it seems. Making inappropriate and highly offensive jokes that trivialize the Holocaust only serve to minimize the evil and inhumanity of Nazi crimes, denigrate the suffering of both victims and survivors, and insult the memory of the 6 million Jews murdered in the Shoah. Yeah. Rare W on the ADL's part. But like again, like the ADL can only operate if they at least pretend to not be what they are, which is a militantly Zionist organization that will sacrifice everything else for that. Like, eventually there's a breaking point, you know? I just, basically what I'm saying is Elon is inconveniently obvious about being far right. Does that make sense? Like, I know it really may not seem this way. I understand that it's difficult to believe this with how things are right now, but if the average Republican voter was exposed to 5 minutes of Elon's Twitter feed directly and then looked at the tweets of the people that he responds to all day, they would disagree with it, like, very vehemently. Has the ADL always been this bad? Yeah, it has. But only recently has Israel been this much of a, like, political wedge, you know? They were really, really bad after the attacks on... the one that I did raised $250,000 for the PCRF afterwards. I remember they were really bad back then. For the most part, they chill out a little bit because, again, like, their whole point is to kind of like legitimize themselves by pretending to be progressive. What's the PCRF? Palestine Children's Relief Fund. It is a humanitarian organization that operated out of Palestine before October 7th. That I raised a great deal of money for. They can't operate out of Palestine now because Palestine's like flat, you know? Anyway, take some solace in the knowledge that Elon Musk is so insanely bad at hiding his power level that it's causing even groups like the ADL to criticize him. Yesterday, a student opened fire at Antioch High School in Nashville, Tennessee. Our earlier research shows the shooter was fueled by violent, hateful views and extremist beliefs, but they won't call out, like, the right, I assume. They'll just say, like, extremist. The shooter, who self-identified as an accelerationist and mental cell, a form of incel, it's like you guys, particularly idolized the teenage girl who attacked a school in Madison, Wisconsin last month. That was the one whose final moments on this earth were in Doc Martens. He also frequented incel and gore forums. Guys, I know this is going to come across as really obvious and, like, self-evident, but if you know somebody who brags about, like, having a high tolerance for looking at gore, you should probably cut contact with them entirely. This is like This is like a 99 percentile mental illness masquerading as edgy, high tolerance shit. You know? They'll pretend they're better than everyone because they're willing to face reality. Yeah, that's like the cope. I'm uncomfortable by how desensitized I can be. Okay, Melody Rain, gotta be honest, don't want to hear it. I don't care. I don't care. You keep those thoughts in your head. I don't normalize that shit. It's okay to like, if you see a dead body to go, oh, that makes me upset. That's fine. And if you don't feel that way, you got to work on that shit yourself. We're not propagating any of that, whatever the this turns into. What's wrong with what? Oh, see, okay, now we got this shit in here. See, I'm telling you, I knew there was a reason I brought it up. I knew there was a reason I brought it up. Armchair ass psychology. Ooh, see, this is why I tell you guys, there are a lot of people out there. You got to keep your eyes out for this shit, man. You got to keep your eyes out for this shit. Work on yourselves. This is some Puritan shit, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't get you people at all. I don't understand this shit. Go to therapy. I don't care if you can't afford it. If you have an orange name, you could have afforded 4 minutes of therapy once a month, okay? Where are all the gore cells coming from? What the There's a surprising number of them. I mostly remember this shit from high school because when you're in high school, everyone's trying to prove how edgy they are, but there are a lot of people who are in that ballpark, you know? It's pretty weird. Tell them empathy correlates with intelligence. Gore cells when they realize that it actually does reflect negatively on their intelligence when they don't understand why other people are put off by them randomly saying, oh, I'm so desensitized to gore. Seems like you have a social IQ of 60. Perhaps you just banned a bunch of high schoolers. Good, then let this be a lesson to them. FBI and Homeland Security agents raid office of a well-known immigration lawyer in Providence, Rhode Island. ICE showed up on my block today, started warning my neighbors. Well, where do you live? I mean, don't dox yourself, but like, what city or state?
Well, Patrice and Dan, those federal agents wrapped up here about a half hour ago after being inside the law office of Joseph Molina Flynn. They were here since this morning. We were actually watching them work through the frosted glass window here, stacking evidence boxes, taking pictures. And just over an hour ago, those federal agents marched out boxes of files right past us, which appears to be evidence in their investigation. We've seen agents from the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, and the IRS. Again, they were inside the office of attorney Joseph Molina Flynn. He practices several areas of law, but is known for his work on immigration. His biography notes that he came to the U.S. as a child as an undocumented immigrant before later becoming a citizen.
Or intimidating immigration lawyers. It would appear the raid was in the works before Trump became president and began his crackdown on illegal immigration. There was already a crackdown on illegal immigration. Well, impossible to know what's even going on here yet. Cool.